What does Stanley Kubrick's film 2001 A Space Odyssey, written by Arthur C. Clarke, have to do with By the Pricking of Her Thumb by Adam Roberts, 2019? Welcome to Vintage SF. I'm Richard Rempel. By the Pricking of Her Thumb is the second novel that we see Private Investigator Alma. She's in this first novel, The Real Town Murders, which I've reviewed on this channel. This book was an homage to Alfred Hitchcock. It was a thriller like his films. So now we have another novel that features Stanley Kubrick, an homage to specifically his film 2001, A Space Odyssey. Adams is a very interesting novelist. Adam Charles Roberts was born June 30th, 1965. Roberts has a degree in English from the University of Aberdeen and a PhD from Cambridge University on Robert Browning and the classics. He teaches English literature and creative writing at Royal Holloway, University of London. In the last 24 years, he's had 22 novels published. This is the only sequel. All others are singletons. There's some subtle references to contemporary and 20th century novels, novelists, movies, and movie directors. Even the title of the novel might remind you of Agatha Christie's By the Pricking of My Thumbs, published in 1968. I don't think that's a coincidence. Once again, we have Private Investigator Alma, who cares for her lover, Marguerite. She has some sort of a bioterror infliction, which needs Alma to attend to her every 4 hours. There's a 10-minute span in there where she can save her life. This has been going on for years. You can imagine not being able to sleep very long because you knew you had to attend to your lover. You couldn't leave the apartment for very long for fear that you may not get back in time. That anxiety is always hanging over Alma's head. That anxiety also makes this an interesting thriller. Alma cannot afford to be arrested or detained in any way. So how can she solve a crime? There's actually a couple crimes in this novel. A dead woman is found with a needle through her thumb. There is no toxin on the needle. How did she die? A political figure who was in the first book as well has contracted Alma to find out. This political figure's name is Pooh Stowe. That always reminds me of Clouseau. I'm not sure if Adams is really making that connection or if it's just a weird connection that I've made. And the main investigation here is by one of the 4 richest Europeans in their society. A bit of background here. Their society has those in the real and those in the shine. The shine is an advancement on the internet where we live in the virtual reality of our choosing or our making. People live in suits that take care of their bodies so that they can continue to be in the shine. Most people live most of their lives in the shine. That makes the real world a bit lonely or a bit detached. The caring of your body and perhaps earning some money are the only reasons that you would be in the real world. But Alma does not like the shine. She has not gone into it. She stays in the real world. And Marguerite's her partner, who is in the shine. Together they make up a team that's somewhat like a Holmes and Watson. But Alma is definitely more emotional than Sherlock. The richest people in the world have found her because she has a following in the shine, a fan club basically. They call her Shelock. Yes, Adams does make some dad jokes. Some bad puns. So Alma is contracted by one of these ultra-rich to find out which of the other ultra-rich is dead. Because of advancements in AI, we're not sure who is alive and who is dead in the shine. So in some ways, this is an if-done-it, and in other ways, we have a who-done-it with the lady with the needle through her thumb. And all the way through the novel, there's a time crunch for Alma, needing to return to Marguerite to administer a treatment that only Alma can do. Very early in the novel, we also meet another character who is following Alma and connects with her, and he calls himself Stanley after Stanley Kubrick. What does this fan and the films of Stanley Kubrick have to do with the mysteries? In here, the Dawn of Man scene from 2001 A Space Odyssey plays a big role. Now, in some ways, I'm reminded of John Scalzi and how he uses contemporary science fiction in his novels. But this is a bit different. There are sly references, there's literary references, but that's not the focus of the story. There's some very interesting themes being investigated here. Money, time, and grief. Let me give you a few quotes from the book. In our first quote, let's take a look at AI. Another slurp of the black stuff, coffee, and Alma dipped her toe into the online world of actually intelligent artificial intelligence, AI, as the movement had named itself. Supposedly a step beyond the merely reactive AIs that ran mundane business in the real and populated the Shine with such density. Impossible, said some. Not only possible, but inevitable, said others. Surveying the present state of debate was far from edifying. One influential subgroup within the AI movement were convinced genuine artificial intelligence would be more than a matter of consciousness. It would be the creation of new souls to glorify God's creation. For a second, larger group, philosophy, or psychology, or programming logic, or theology absolutely proved that AI was simply impossible, a non-thing, a contradiction in terms. Was this the world Alexa Lund had inhabited? She's the victim of murder. There was certainly enough animus swirling around to suggest a degree of murderousness. Then again, there was no proof this was even what Lund's job entailed, let alone any indication she'd got close enough to the holy grail of a properly conscious AI to stir up the hornets. In our second quote, let's take a look at debt, and specifically what money is. The character Tim is a representative of one of the ultra-rich people. Debt, said Tim. Credit. You know where the word credit comes from? Credere, Latin for belief. Money is not gold coins or paper notes or the manifestation of surplus value or externalized labor or a ratio of supply to demand or anything like that. Money is belief. Simple as that. What is the whole of human society? A complicated network that subsists from month to month because people believe in it. What is politics? Belief. What is love? Love is what you believe about another person. What is God? That in which people believe. And what is belief? It's another word for credit, for money. There's a lot of talk about absolute wealth in this novel. What is absolute wealth? How do you measure it? What are you pursuing? Let's also look at one more quote. In this quote, we're going to take a look at how the Shine, an extension of our internet now, changes everything. Through the 20th century, the gap between the rich and the poor got narrower. Then, through the 21st, it widened sharply again. But all that was predicated on the antique economies. The Shine has changed everything. The Shine is where almost all the wealth is being generated nowadays. You see, economics works differently there. Everything works differently there. All this talk of the Shine reminded me of Stephen King's The Shining, but I don't think there's a real connection here, at least not one that I can see. I found this novel to be actually a very deep exploration of money and purpose and meaning in life. The mysteries were intriguing and the characters were well drawn. There are some major developments in Alma and Marguerite's life. Should you read the first novel before you read the second novel? I don't think it's necessary, but it definitely would deepen your understanding of the characters. I think this second novel is even better than the first. I give it 8.5 out of 10. I'm really looking forward to reading more Roberts in the future. Let me know what you think about these novels and his use of film directors. Until next time, keep reading.